Hi, Laura. Welcome back.
Hello.
How's things been going this week?
Things have been all right. Like some good, some bad.
Okay. Well, your homework last week was to work towards identifying positive things that had happened to you, at least one every day. So were you able to identify some positive things?
Yeah, so far this week, I have been able, last week we talked about how I've been like overwhelmed with having to do like case management and supervisor stuff and practicum stuff. So this week I've been able to focus a little bit more on the supervisor stuff, which is what I want to be able to focus on when I'm at work, because that's my job title. And like I want to, that's my, as far as I'm concerned, like that's my number one responsibility, is to be a good supervisor and to be there for my staff when they need me. So I've been able to spend more time doing supervisor duties this week. Like I was able to go on a parental home visit with one of my new workers on Monday morning. It's a case that I'm still case managing, but she's taking it over next month. So she went with me. We went out to see one of the parents and conducted a home visit. So she kind of got to shadow me, and we got to spend some time together doing that. And then yesterday, I went with one of my other new staff out on a family-centered services visit. So that's a case that I used to case. Well, no, actually, that's a brand new case that she has been case managing since the beginning. It's been open for maybe a month. And so I went with her to a visit, and I basically like shadowed her and observed her do her home visit. So I have gotten to do those two things this week that was more within the supervisor realm of things. So.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you were able to see a few positive things. Did you notice a change in how you felt when you were acting more as a supervisor?
Well, I think there's still, like, I'm still not where I want to be, because I'm still case managing. Granted, now the goal was to transition cases to new staff on October 1. So, like, that's happening. Like, I've physically gone into our computer system and transferred the majority of them. There's only one case now that's in my name. It's a pretty complex AC case, but that's manageable. But it's still like they're new staff, and so they still need a lot of, like support and guidance. And so
right.
While I was out like doing these supervisory observation, home visit things with them, like I was glad to be there, and I want to be, supportive and available to them when they need me to do things like that. But also I was still experiencing a little bit of anxiety, because part of me was thinking about, oh, if I was at the office, I could be doing, X, Y, and Z. I could be reading front lines, or I could be making phone calls or whatever. And so there's still some, like, I'm trying to get everything balanced and get back on track now that I have some breathing room. So.
Right. So do you think that if you're not in the office, that you're not doing your job?
Well, I think not necessarily not doing my job. Like, I wouldn't say like not doing my job at all. Just like maybe not doing, like, I want to get back to like where I was before, where my sole focus was only supervisor stuff, or supervisor stuff and practicum was manageable. But supervisor, case manager, and practicum, that's a little bit, too much to be doing for a period of time. So I'm not doing it the way I want to be able to do it yet, but I don't necessarily think that I'm not doing it at all.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It makes complete sense. So I want to say, were there any other concerns that had came up for you during this week, so we can kind of maybe get an agenda set for what we want to talk about today?
Nothing that I think can probably be solved during this session. There's some another worker, or not worker, the other supervisor and I butt heads a little bit. We have very conflicting personalities, and she causes me a great deal of stress, but I don't foresee that changing anytime soon. So
okay.
I don't think it's worth wasting time talking about, unfortunately.
Okay, so the last couple sessions we had talked about overall, I want to say the fact that you're not able to give 100% at work,
Yes.
and that causes you stress. Are there any other issues that you'd like to discuss, or do we want to kind of dig deeper down in with that issue?
No, I think that's still, probably my main underlying concern is, like, I want to do well. Like, I don't have to do a lot of things well, but I want to do well what I am. So I want to be a good supervisor, and I want to be able to focus on that, and I don't want to be...
Okay, Laura, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Is it better now?
Coming back?
What about now?
No, still a little fuzzy.
That's weird. Let me see if I can't fix it.
Are you back yet?
Is it distorted, or is it just...
No, it's just like you turn the volume down.
Oh, that's weird. I'll try to get closer to the mic. Because it says it's up 100%. Can you hear me any better now?
A little bit, yeah. Okay, so previously you'd said that you want to give 100% and that not being able to do so causes you stress. Can you describe to me what the stress looks like for you at this point?
I think it's just like worry. I don't know if I can tell you what it looks like. I can tell you what I think it feels like. It's just more like worry or guilt on my part, because like I take my job as a supervisor very seriously, and that like it's what I think my responsibility is to be available to my staff, to support my staff, to help my staff when they need it, but to empower them, to know that they can do their jobs and that they can do it well, but to be there for them like when they need me. And that's like my goal, is to be good at that. And so it's difficult, like if I have to case manage and do a practicum and kind of split my time between those three things all at once, I'm not able to focus on the supervisory part of it like I want to. And I feel like they suffer because of it. Like I don't want them to feel like they don't have the support that they need because I have all these other things that I have to do. So I think it's more like worry on my part that I'm not giving them what they need. Okay. Although they're very self-sufficient and they're great workers who can handle things on their own, but that's the worry that I have.
Okay, so it sounds like over the course of the last few sessions that we've had, we're having a storm here. Hopefully the power doesn't go out. That overall, that you feel the need to give 100% so that you can support your staff the way they need to be supported.
Yes.
Okay. What happens if you're not able to give 100%?
Well, I guess it just depends on what the situation looks like. If I'm gone out of the office because I have these case management duties that I have to do, and I'm out on 3 or 4 different health visits in the afternoons. Like right now, I've only had one investigator because we've been trying to fill our second investigator position, and so she's covering hotlines. And if we have 3, 4 hotlines that come in, like I can't be there to help her, make initial contacts or make phone calls or even be there to, I'm always available by phone, and they know that I'm always available by phone, but that's not the same as like being in the office and being available to talk, or workers who, have difficult home visits and want to talk about stuff like that. Like having less of a physical presence in the office doesn't make me available to them as much as they need me to. So
okay, so if you're not there and you have to be out of the office, they're just on their own. There's no other options for them to seek help, or nobody that can support them besides you. You're the only one that is able to help them.
The circuit manager, she is a very good resource for them, and I would she's my boss, and she's been my boss for a long time. So I would trust her completely to support them, and to be able to help them in situations like that. Now she's also been case managing cases. Like her and the other supervisor and I have all been case managing cases because we've been down so many staff, and she split like her time between two different offices. Like Lynn is the main office and then Sullivan is the other office. So she's not always physically in Lynn County every day. So we run into the same kind of issue. Like she may not be there physically. She might be available by phone, or she may be out on home visits. The other supervisor who is in Lynn every day, I'll just be honest, she does not know anything about hotlines whatsoever. So no, she's not an option for my staff to go to if it had to do with that particular thing. Like no, they would be better off doing it themselves.
Okay. So do you feel that your staff is incompetent that you've hired and that you need to be there with them at all times?
Oh, no, not at all. Like I am very blessed to have right now, two seasoned staff who are more than capable of handling things. But I still want to be there for them if they need me. And that's the kicker. Like they don't need me all the time, and I'm well aware of that. But if they need me, I want to be there for them. So
right.
But the new staff who just got done with training do need a lot more support and guidance than what those two do need.
Right. But I'm going to say, it sounds like you are saying, you know, that if you are unavailable, that you've got your circuit manager that they can go to, and the new hires can also seek out the staff that has been there for a little bit for advice until you are available again.
Yes.
Okay. So does that help with your feelings of stress and anxiety, knowing that there are other people that they can seek out for information if you're not there 100% of the time?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's definitely a positive thing, and it's something that I've thought about before, that, you know, it's not like I am the only one in the office that can help them if they need that. I just, but I also, too, like, you know, I also don't want to, I'm very much not the type to push my responsibilities off onto other people. So I'm not the type that's just like, oh, I'm going to be gone, call somebody else. No, like, it's my responsibility. I want to be the one that does it. Like, I want to be there
right.
for my staff.
Like
so.
you said, with having 3 different hats, it is not physically possible for you to be there 100% of the time.
That's true.
So do you think it would be a good idea maybe to write something down and put it somewhere you can look at it, and just put, you know, something we've just said, you know, that's positive? What could we write down that would be good for you to look at every day?
I don't know. I guess, you know, what we talked about is something like, you know, if I start to feel bad, or if I start to feel guilty about not being, you know, physically present in the office, I probably should remind myself that, like, my staff are very capable, which I do know. I'm very cognizant of that, but that there is at least one other person in the office or available by phone, like I always am, who is more than capable of assisting them if they need assistance. So.
Okay. And I'm saying maybe that would be helpful to recognize that there are other people there that are capable. And, you know, have you ever been in instances before where your supervisor was not always there?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And do you think that your supervisor was stressed out and feeling like they were not doing a good job because they were busy?
I doubt it. You know, I guess I would like to think that they probably thought that myself and the other workers in the office were competent enough to handle things on our own for a little bit. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have left us with no.
Right. So if your
support.
If your supervisor were to express that she was stressed and worried about not being there with you 100% of the time, what would you tell her?
I would tell her that she didn't need to worry, because I've done this job for 8 years, and I'm more than capable of handling most situations with that. the time would arise when I did need something and she wasn't around, I know how to get in touch with her.
Okay. Do you think maybe that would be the same for your staff?
Oh yes, I'm sure that's exactly the same for my staff.
Okay. Does that make you feel better or worse?
It makes me feel better.
Okay. So what do you feel like you need to work on after this? We've kind of looked at positives, we've got ourselves reminders that, we don't have to be there 100% of the time. Your staff, you've told me, is capable. There are other staff that's seasoned and supportive, as well as your circuit manager. So what kind of steps can we take to help you alleviate the stress in your own head?
I don't know. I guess just, reminding myself that, you know, that I guess probably like you said before, just reminding myself that when I was a worker, I didn't need my supervisor around all the time. And I don't by any means think that they need me around. My concern is more so like, what if and I'm not there? Like I would never want them to be like on their own, like, in a situation where they needed help and I wasn't available. So but I think just to remind myself that like they are more than aware that if I'm not in the office, I always have my phone like glued to my hands, and they are more than welcome to call me anytime they want, and they know that if they need me to do something for them, that I'll do it. And so I think I know that they know that, but then I still have those worries. So I think just reminding myself that like I am available, and they know that I'm available,
Okay.
whether I'm physically there or not.
Okay, so I want you to think of, I'm going to say, 2 or 3 positive statements about the abilities of your staff.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, one of my staff members she's currently an investigator. She has been an investigator for a while. She's actually worked at the agency probably longer, if not around the same amount of time that I have. She started before me, but she also left for a period of time and then came back. So I would say probably evens out that she's probably worked for the agency for as long as I have, which is 8.5 years, almost 8.5 years now.
Okay, so what's your positive statement?
She is very, she's done it all. Like she's been a resource worker and she's an investigator, and she knows how to do, even though she doesn't like AC, she knows how to do it. And she's always willing to help or volunteer. Like she is probably the backbone of our office because she just.
Okay, so what if we wrote something down along the lines of, Sally is a very good resource for my staff.
She's a wonderful resource.
Okay, what's another positive about your staff and their abilities?
They have like diverse backgrounds. The investigator has a background in social work, and then my other experienced staff member used to work like at a law office for one of the local attorneys that we deal with a lot, and so she brings like the legal side of it, that knowledge, and that's very like useful in situations. And she also has a very good relationship with like our local law enforcement and gets along well with them, and so she is a good resource as well.
Okay, so it sounds like maybe that together they would be good problem solvers for your new staff?
I think they definitely have the potential. The investigator especially can probably solve just about any problem, and she can do it efficiently. The staff are very lucky to have her as a role model. But yeah, and just a lot of like, they bring a lot of diverse background and different perspectives to situations. And so I think that that's good for new staff to see like how different people can make things work using different techniques, I guess.
Okay, so I'm going to say I want you to choose a couple of those and write those down as well. So we have the first that we wrote down, and then two more. What would you think about reading these positive things about your staff every day? I want you to find some place at work to put these, since that seems to be where you experience the most stress and anxiety. Because to kind of recap of what we've went over, I'm going to say you seem to think, you know, kind of the theme throughout everything we have talked about over the last couple weeks is that you feel you need to be there 100% of the time to support your staff. However, we've discovered that if you're not there, it doesn't mean that you're doing any less quality work, but your staff is very capable of identifying go-to people. You've got other staff that's a good resource. You've got the circuit manager, and you said you're always available by phone for them.
Yeah.
So if you're not there 100% of the time, I got the impression that you felt like your staff would be okay.
Oh yeah, I think that they'll be okay.
Okay. And you also felt, you know, had hoped that your circuit manager didn't feel like you needed your hand held 100% of the time, and you would have told her, go on, I've got this. I've been doing it for several years. I know how to get hold of you if I need you.
Yeah.
But you don't feel like the same applies to your staff a little bit, because you're kind of nervous about that because you feel like you want to continue to be there 100% of the time.
Well, and it's, yeah, yes and no, because I don't, like, I guess I want to make sure, because I am a very firm, like, I have a very firm stance against micromanaging staff, and so I want to make sure that it's clear
Against
that
what? I'm sorry.
against micromanaging staff. Like, that's one of my issues with the other supervisor in the office. She does it all the time, and I can't, like, hardly stand it. So I don't, like, I'm not around holding their hand, like, with my head over their shoulder, checking everything they do. I worry, like, if something were if something were to happen, that they would need to come to me and I wasn't there, like, I wouldn't want them to feel like they didn't have that support. But I'm not by any means, like, thinking they need me to tell them what to do every second of the day. So just so that's clear.
No, that's fun. That's perfect. So it sounds like it's just something you maybe need to get straight in your head a little bit, that they are okay on their own, and it's okay if you're not there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in hopes that our homework assignment of taking 3 positive statements about your staff to work with you will help you maybe decrease some of those feelings.
Hopefully.
Okay. Anything else that you'd like to discuss or that we need to touch upon?
I don't think so.
What do you think was maybe the most beneficial thing that you got out of our visit today? Because it's time for us to wrap up.
I think that you made a very good point when you reminded me that I like how my worries about like my staff can be like flipped around, like in regards to my supervisor. Like, do I need my supervisor there every second of the day? No, that was a very good point that I really hadn't considered before. Like I said, like, I don't think that they need me every second of the day. I just, if they need me, I want to be there. So, but I think that was like, oh yeah, I'd never thought about it like that before. So good job, Tracy.
Well, thank you. I want to say, is there anything that maybe bothered you through the visit that we maybe need to clarify?
No.
Okay. Well, I think we actually made some good progress today, and I'm proud of you for recognizing that maybe they can spread their wings and fly on their own, and you don't have to be there 100% of the time.
Yeah, they fly a lot, so they're good.
Okay. Well, how about we set up and visit again next week? Will the same time work for you?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thanks.